They arrived at the restaurant a little earlier than planned. Not because they were afraid of being late, but because home felt too quiet. That kind of silence that doesn't calm you, only presses on you. The kind where you hear the clock ticking and realize that something else has been ticking between you for a long time. The restaurant was small and cozy, without any pretension. Warm light from the lamps fell softly on the wooden tables, and outside the windows there was a wet night and yellow reflections from streetlights. It was exactly the kind of place they used to love, back before their lives filled up with to-do lists, unfinished conversations, and the phrase, "we'll talk later," which never really came. She sat down first, took off her coat, and carefully hung it on the back of the chair, just like she always did. He noticed that small habit and suddenly remembered that this was one of the things he had fallen in love with. It once seemed to him that she knew how to put things in order not only around her, but inside as well. "It's nice here," he said, mostly to break the silence. "Yeah," she replied, and in that short word it was already clear that this wouldn't be a simple evening. They ordered one bottle of wine to share. A long time ago they used to choose different drinks, laugh, trade glasses, argue about taste. Now they picked the same one, as if they had stopped fighting even in small things. The first minutes passed in silence, not an awkward one, but a familiar one. The kind of silence shared by people who have lived together long enough to know each other's weak spots, and not long enough to stop being afraid of touching them. He looked at her and thought that she hadn't changed much. The same eyes, the same line of her lips. But her gaze was different now, as if she wasn't looking at him, but through him, at years of tiredness and unspoken resentment. She looked at him and remembered how he used to joke for no reason at all, easily and freely. Now his jokes were shorter and careful, as if he was afraid of saying too much. "Do you remember our first date?" she suddenly asked. He smiled, remembering how she spilled coffee on his jacket and wanted to run away. "And you said it was good luck," she added, and for a moment that old warmth appeared between them. "But it was fragile. You know," she continued more seriously, "I feel like we haven't really been together for a long time. We're close, but each on our own." He replied that they were together every day, but she only sighed. "Physically, yes. In every other way." She didn't need to finish that sentence. They had planned this date as a simple dinner, without heavy talks. But the truth always finds its moment. He admitted that he was tired of work, of responsibility, of the constant feeling of guilt. She said she was tired of his silence and of not knowing what was going on inside him. When the food arrived, they ate slowly, barely tasting it. Once, they had dreamed about evenings like this, imagined them as a symbol of happiness. But reality turned out to be more complicated. Marriage isn't only about love, it's daily work between two people who are constantly changing. "I'm afraid we'll turn into just roommates," she said quietly. He honestly admitted that he was afraid he no longer knew how to be the person she needed. She reached across the table and touched his fingers carefully, as if checking whether he was still there. "I don't need a perfect version of you," she said. "I need a real one." He squeezed her hand and confessed that he had forgotten how to speak out loud. "Then let's start now," she answered. They talked for a long time, about small hurts that became big, about being lonely together, about losing connection. Outside, the night grew deeper, and between them, honesty slowly appeared. He didn't promise a perfect future, and neither did she. But both of them wanted to try. When they left the restaurant, the cold air cleared their thoughts. He placed her coat over her shoulders, and that simple gesture felt more important than any words. They walked down the night street, sometimes brushing their fingers against each other, and that was enough to understand one thing: marriage isn't about perfect dates. It's about choosing to stay, even when it's hard. About conversations that are scary to start, and about dinners that can become not an ending, but a new starting point.